going through these practice questions. And by crack straight on, I mean unprofessionally scroll through the PowerPoint to find where we got up to, which was here. So I will give you 2 minutes to do this question, and then we'll go through it. Oh, Menti, talk about unprofessional. So let me put the I'm actually going to do this on a different device. So how can I share? Well, maybe I can't share the link, but if you will go to menti.com and put in this code, and then just click on the little heart so that I can see you're in. Because basically I'm doing it on my tablet so that I can see it without having to take the question off the screen. So go to menti.com and this is the code 55187495. Okay, I've got 3 hearts, so I'm gonna proceed. First I'm gonna skip to that question. So you should, oh, there it is. So you should have that on your Menti screen now. And then this is the question on your computer screen. And I will give you 2 minutes. Off you go. Okay, 1 minute remaining.
I don't know if it's just me, but I don't think I can see the multiple choice question.
Oh, sorry, yeah, it's not a multiple choice, this one. So you just have to type it into the answer box. Sorry, I should have explained that. Yeah, so a few of the questions in the question bank don't actually have multiple choice options. Okay, so I've got a few different answers. 135, 135, 81, or 189. The correct answer is 135, so well done to 2 of you who got that right. So let's have a look at the method. So we're told that Charlie received as a graduation gift £450. He decided he would invest 2/5 in stocks and shares, or stocks and shares ISA, use 3 attempts for a holiday, and the remainder to purchase a PlayStation 5. So what we want to figure out is basically, if we think of it like this was like the original amount, and then there's a certain portion that went on the ISA, he invested it, and then there was a certain portion which went on the holiday, and then the amount that's left over is the PlayStation money. So, and we know that the total was £450. So, whoops, this is 2/5 is the stocks and shares ISA, and then the amount that went on, the amount that went on the holiday was 3/10. So we need to work out what's left over once we've taken off, 2/5 and 3/10. So if we were doing this pen and paper, we would have to add these fractions together. We would have to make them have the same denominator, but we can just do it on the calculator. So 3/10 plus 2/5, and that gives us 7/10. So this portion here that he's kind of put into the holiday and the ISA is 7/10, or 70% of the £450. So that tells us that the remaining amount is going to be 3/10, because the whole amount is 10/10, or 1. So we take away 7/10, that leaves 3/10. And if we wanted to do that on the calculator, we just do 1 minus 7/10, and we get 3/10. Okay, so now we just need to know what is 3/10 of 450. And this we've been over before. If you don't remember or you don't understand why this is the method, just go back through the previous lessons. Oh, it thinks that I mean x. Or maybe I have to put in an asterisk. There we go. Yeah, I know we get 135. So that is the amount. I think he's going to be disappointed when he gets to game and tries to buy his PlayStation 5 with £135. So anyway, on to the next question, which is about rainfall. So you should have multiple choice now on your Menti screen, and I will give you again 2 minutes for this one. Off you go. So you've got 30 seconds left. Okay, actually, I think everybody's got their answers in, so I will go ahead and good news, everybody is correct. So I'm not going to spend much time explaining this one, but basically the highest is 209. We take away the lowest, which is 29, and we get the difference, and then we just find what percentage is that of the original amount. So divided by 209 times 100, and we get 86.12. So well done, everybody, on that one. Okay, so let me move the Menti on. Yeah, that's the right one. Okay, so this one's true or false, and again, I'll give you 2 minutes. Off you go. One more minute. Okay, last 10 seconds or so. Okay, I think everybody's got their answers in. So, interesting. So we've got 3 people went for true. Yes, you can fit the leftover cake in one tin. And 1 person went for false. No, you can't. The correct answer is false. So well done to the 1 person who got that right. So let's have a look at the reason. So we have 2 cakes to begin with. And does it say? It doesn't actually say they're the same size, but I think we have to make some assumptions here. Okay, so this amount is 2. Okay, one of the cakes is then cut into 8 slices. The other one is cut into 10 slices. From the one that is cut into 8 slices, 3 slices are removed. So if you think about what portion or what proportion of the cake has been removed, it's 3/8, right? Because if you cut it into 8, each slice is now 1/8 of a cake. If you remove 3 of them, then you're removing 3/8 from the 2 cakes. So we started with 2 cakes, we've gone down 3/8 of a cake. And then the other one, which was cut into 10, 6 slices are taken. So that's 6/10 of the cake has been taken. Okay, so we started with 2 cakes, we lost 3/8 of a cake, then we lost 6/10 of a cake. So what proportion of a cake is left over? Well, let's go to our fraction calculator. So we had 2, subtract 3/8, subtract 6/10, and we get 41/40 left over, which is, as a decimal, you can see there, 1.025. So what that means is that we've got 1 cake and then like 1/40th of a cake left over. And so therefore, we've got more than 1 cake. So it won't fit into 1 cake tin. Although I suppose you might be able to put it on top of the other bit, but you know, we're not going to think too laterally here. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. If any of this doesn't make sense anyway, feel free to just shout out, or I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat as well, but I might forget to look at it, so you can just shout out. Okay, so this is a ratio one. There's 2 parts. I think did I do this as 2 separate questions? I might have just put one. Yeah, I just put one question. So if you just put both answers, A and B, in the answer box, and then yeah, I'll give you 2 minutes, but if everyone hasn't finished by 2 minutes, I'll give you a bit of extra time. So let's assume 2 minutes. Off you go. That's 1 minute gone. That's 2 minutes, but I'll give you some more time. Okay, I've got one answer. Everyone else, are you stuck or do you just need more time?
More time, please.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to give you another 30 seconds. Okay, last 5 seconds. Okay, great. So, a couple more of you got answers, at least to part A, which is great. Okay, so I will say that both of these questions, part A and part B, are exactly the same as certain questions that are in the question packs. So, just to remind you, I will put the link in the chat again. I have made question packs for all the topics, and no, you might be working through them in order, so maybe you haven't got up to here yet. But I really recommend just actually work through all of these, because it will just give you this toolkit of skills at your fingertips that will really help. So this first one is part A. No, let me find it. Here we go. In a situation with 3 or more values, given information about how many times larger or smaller different values are than each other, work out the ratio of all the values in its simplest form. So all of these 5 questions here are the same type of question as part A. And obviously it's not just the question pack, there's the notes as well. And then the last one is actually, part B is actually the same as these ones here. And so all of that is covered in the syllabus notes. So I really, I mean, maybe it's on your to-do list and you haven't got around to it yet, or you're working your way through. But I really can't emphasize enough. Do just work through those one step at a time, because then it will all just be at your fingertips. So anyway, let's have a look at this question. So I don't know how to pronounce this name, but I'm going to go with Alik. Alik, John, and Kate tracked the number of books they read last year. John read twice as many books as Kate, but Alik read 4 times as many books as John. Write down a ratio of the number of books read by Alik to the number of books read by John to the number of books read by Kate. So what we're looking for is Alik to John to Kate, A to J to K. So let's just start by writing that down, so we don't have to hold that in our head. We actually can just kind of focus us. Okay, let's go through the information. John read twice as many books as Kate. So J to K, John's number of books read to Kate's number of books read is 2 to 1. And someone else just got their answer in. And Alik read 4 times as many books as John. I didn't actually tell you the right answer. It is 8 to 2 to 1, so well done if you got that. So anyway, what was it? Alik read 4 times as many as John. Okay, so 4 to 1, Alik to John. So first we have to identify, is there any item that's in both of these ratios? Yes, John. John is in both ratios. But John's number of parts is different in each ratio, so we can't merge the ratios yet. We need to make these numbers the same. So the easiest way to do that is to times this by 2, which means we also have to times this by 2. So 4 to 1 is equivalent to 8 to 2. Now we can merge them, because we've got a 2 for John here, we've got a 2 for John here. So that means that A to J to K is 8 to 2 to 1. Okay, so well done if you got that right. Now the second part asks us, Alik read 63 more books than Kate last year. Work out how many books Alik, John, and Kate read in total last year. So what this is saying is that Alik read 63 more then Kate. Now in the ratio, Alika is represented by 8 parts, Kate is represented by 1 part. So the difference between them is 7 parts of the ratio. And we are told that that difference represents an actual difference of 63 books. So in other words, 7 parts in the ratio represents 63 books. And therefore we can work out, well, how much does 1 part in the ratio represent? So we just divide both sides by 7. 63 divided by 7 is 9. Okay, now how many parts do we have in total? Well, 8 plus 2 plus 1 is 11. So 11 parts in the ratio represents the total number of books. And given that each 1 part represents 9 books, we need to do 11 times 9, and then we get 99 books. So well done, whichever of you put 99 books as your answer. So everybody got at least one part of the question right. So well done. In fact, everybody got exactly one part of the question right. Okay, cool. So obviously that one was a bit more challenging than the others. And ratio is hard. That's why I put much longer, there's a lot more in the notes. So yeah, you just need to go through it bit by bit and it will all make sense. Okay, cool. It's another ratio question. So yeah, I'll give you 2 minutes again. Off you go. Okay, I'm going to give you a bit of extra time on this one. Okay, that's 3.5 minutes. I'm going to give you another 1 more minute. Thirty seconds. Okay, last 10 seconds, then I'm going to go through the answer. Have a guess. Okay, time's up. So the correct answer is 160. So well done to the person who got that right. Let's have a look at the method. So a business has 2 different offices, one in London, the other in New York. The ratio of the number of staff at the London office to New York office is 3 to 5. Employees of the business are either part-time or full-time. In London, 30% of the staff are part-time. In New York, 20% of the staff are part-time. Given that the business has 38 part-time members of staff, work out the total number of employees. So we know that the ratio of London employees to New York employees is 3 to 5. And we're told that of the London employees, 30% of them are part-time. So 30% are part-time. And of the New York employees, 20% are part-time. 20% part-time. So the part-time staff make up 30% of the London staff and 20% of the New York staff, and that total of all the part-time staff is 38 people. So it's 38 people that are part-time. We want to work out how many staff are there in total. So, first of all, let's work out what proportion of the staff work in London and what proportion of the staff work in New York, because then we can work out what proportion of the staff are part-time London employees and what proportion of staff are part-time New York employees. Then we can work out what proportion of the staff are part-time, and then we know that that proportion equals 38, and then we can work out the total number. So in total, there's 8 parts in the ratio. So this is kind of out of 8. 3 plus 5 is 8. So in other words, 3/8 of the employees are in London. In fact, I'm going to put that over here. So 3/8 of the employees are in London. So 3/8 of X, where X is the answer we're trying to find, the total number of staff, is the number of employees who work in London. Now, 30% of those 3/8 are part-time employees who work in London. So 30% is 3/10, or you can do it as 0.3 if you prefer. So 3/10 of 3/8 of the total number of staff are part-time employees who work in London. Okay, and if you multiply those, you get 9/80. So therefore 9/80 of the total number of staff, 9/80 of the number we're looking for, are part-time employees in London. Do the same thing for New York. So 5/8 of the staff work in New York, and 20% of those 5/8, which is 2/10, or you could do it as 1/5, which is obviously more simplified, are part-time employees who work in New York. So what we're saying here is that 2/10 of 5/8 of the total number of staff are part-time New York employees. So this multiplies to give 10 80ths, which is the same as 1/8, but I'm just calling it 10 80ths so that we can add them together more easily. Although if you're doing it on the calculator, it obviously doesn't matter. And so if we add these together, 10 80ths plus 9 80ths, that gives us 19 80ths. So 19 80ths of the total number of staff are part-time employees. And we know that that equals 38, because we know there's 38 part-time employees. So that means that 19 80ths of X, or of the unknown, the total number of staff, is 38. So if we just rearrange, we get 38, X equals 38 divided by 19 80ths, or in other words, 38 divided by 19 times 80. So let's do that here. 38, and actually let's do it on this one. Let's just do it on this one. Okay, so 38 divided by 19 times 80. Or if you prefer, you can do 38 divided by brackets 19 divided by 80 close brackets. Either way, you get 160. If you don't know what I'm talking about there, go back through the fractions notes and question packs. And that should make sense because there's lots of examples like this. So anyway, so we get 160 is the answer. So you can see this is a good example, this question, of how when you start doing numerical reasoning tests, a lot of the questions are going to require you to combine together different skills from the toolkit that we've been building. So you know, you might look at the question packs in the toolkit and say, well, these aren't really realistic because they're not as complex as the real numerical reasoning test questions. But the point is you need to learn the individual skills, build up the toolkit, so that then when you get to a question like this, the challenge now is, okay, how do I identify the right tools from my toolkit and use them in combination to solve this complex problem? But if you don't even have the tools in the first place, you're not going to be able to do that. It's too much to go from not knowing how to do any of it to just immediately jumping into a question like this. But if you do go through all of the skills one at a time and build them up, then it won't be such a big leap to then try doing questions like this. Okay, so back to our questions. So yeah, let's have, I'll give you 2 minutes on this one. And this one, you need to put both answers in the answer box, please. Thirty seconds left. Okay, so I'm going to go through this one. If you've done part A but not part B, send your part A answer in. Okay, great. So the answers are 4/9 and 250. So everybody who sent an answer, or all the answers that were sent in were correct. So well done. This person was first. So we're told that the ratio of blonde-haired to blue-haired student, not blue-haired, blonde-haired to brown-haired students is 4:5. So blonde to brown is 4:5. So what fraction of them have blonde hair? So it's just 4/9 because the total number of parts in the ratio is 9, 4 plus 5, so it's 4 out of 9. And then what number, if 450 students in school, how many of them have brown hair? So equally, we can see that 5/9 of the students have brown hair. So we want 5/9 of 450. And there's a lot of ways we could do that on the calculator. One of them is just to type 5/9 times 450. The division and multiplication will just be done from left to right because they're equal precedence. So we get 250 as the answer. So well done if you got either or both parts of that right. Let's try another one. Okay, off you go. 2 minutes again. One minute gone. Just to let you know, we are gonna keep going for an extra 10 minutes because we started 10 minutes late. But obviously, if you have to go, that's fine. I think it's all being recorded anyway, so you should be able to watch it back. But yeah, so we'll finish at 25:2. Okay, so get your answers in. I'll give you another minute. Twenty seconds. Okay, so I'm going to go through this now. So we've got two answers. So the correct answers are 5 to 4 and 3 to 13. So one of you put 4 to 5, so you've just read it the wrong way round. So the first one, so what's the ratio of cherries to oranges? It's 4 to 5. Cherries is, oh sorry, it's 5 to 4, because cherries is 5, oranges is 4. So I can see where you've gone wrong there, because it's written above oranges and then cherries, but in the question they sneakily flipped the order around. They asked you cherries to oranges, so the answer is 5 to 4. Now one of you actually said 5/13 to 4/13. So what you've presumably done there is you've added all the numbers together, and you've seen that there's 13 parts in total, 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 1. And then so cherries is 5 parts out of 13, so 5/13. Oranges is 4 parts out of 13, so 4/13. So that ratio that you've put of 5/13 to 4/13 is correct. However, the simplest form of that ratio is just 5 to 4. So these are equivalent ratios, because if you just times both sides by 13, then you get from that to that. So the question doesn't actually say give your answer in its simplest form, so I think you should get some credit for that answer. But yeah, literally all you have to do is just say, okay, it's 5 part cherries to every 4 parts oranges, so it's 5 to 4. And then what is the ratio of total number of, sorry, what is the ratio of apples to the total number of fruit in the basket? So this one is 3 to 13, so well done to the person who got that right. So apples is 3 parts, total number of fruit in the basket is 13 parts, and so it's 3 to 13. Now the question would be a little bit more challenging if the ratios that you got directly from the question were not already in their simplest form. So 5 to 4 and 3 to 13, these are both already in their simplest form. And we can tell because, well, 5 is a prime number and 4 is not a multiple of 5, so therefore they must not have any factors in common. Or in other words, 4 is 2 squared and 5 is just 5 to the power of 1. And again, 13 and 3 are both prime numbers, and they're different prime numbers to each other, so they're not going to have any factors in common. But you might get a question that was very similar to this, but say, for example, if it said, well, say if the total added up to 12, and then it was apples to total, that'd be 3 to 12, which would then need to be simplified to 1 to 4. And if you want to know how to do that on your calculator, just have a look back at the notes on ratios, and it's all explained. Or just watch the previous session back when we went through that. Okay, cool. So let's try and do another question or two. So this one's back to multiple choice again. I will give you, well, let's see. I'll give you 2 minutes, but if you need longer, we can do a bit longer as well. Off you go. Okay, you've had a minute and a half. Okay, it's coming up to 3 minutes, so I'm going to give you 1 more minute. No, in fact, I'm going to give you 30 seconds because otherwise we'll run out of time. "15 seconds. If you don't know, have a guess. 1 in 4 chance. Okay, so the correct answer is A, London. So nobody got that one right. So let's go through this. So in order to do this, we have to convert each ratio into the form of something to 1. Okay, so we've got Edinburgh, Manchester, Liverpool, and London, and we're looking for the ratio of rent to insurance. So Edinburgh, for example, is 610 to 70. 610 to 70. So, whoops. We want to get that in the form of something to 1, so we have to divide both sides by 70. 610 divided by 70 gives us 8.71 to 1. So that is the ratio for Edinburgh. Manchester, we do the same thing. So 560 divided by 50. That gives us 11.2 to 1. And then Liverpool, 480 divided by 35. Sorry, I'm not doing this on the screen just to save time. 13.7 to 1. And then London, finally, is the highest rent, 670, but it also has the highest insurance. So we divide that by 105, and we get 6.38 to 1. And so London is the lowest ratio because it's 6.38, is lower than all the other numbers. And then obviously we want to check that it is actually, that it is actually 96 to 7. So if we put it into the calculator, I will actually do this on the screen. 670 over 105. So remember, we can use the fraction simplification as a sneaky way to simplify ratios. Have I typed it in wrong? Oh no, sorry. Yeah, it should be 100. I was just reading this bit, so it should be 134 to 21, which it is. Okay, so we'll finish there, and thank you all for coming.